I just finished an intense 30-day challenge where I used only Blender for sculpting in the first half, then switched to ZBrush for the second half. I created the same types of project in both characters, creatures, and detailed props to really understand which tool deserves your time and money. This isn't just theory. This is hands-on experience with both tools, and I'm going to share everything I learned, including some surprising discoveries that might change your mind about which one to choose. Let's start with Blender's sculpting capabilities, which honestly surprised me more than I expected. Going into this challenge, I thought Blender would be the clear underdog, but after 2 weeks of intensive use, I have to say, Blender sculpting tools have come a long way. First off, the price point is unbeatable. Blender is completely free and that includes all the sculpting tools. No subscription, no virtual licenses, just download and start creating. For students, hobbyists, or anyone on a tight budget, this is a massive advantage. I created some genuinely impressive character boss without spending a single dollar. The integration with Blender's other tools is seamless. You could sculpt a character immediately, switch to texture painting mode, add materials, set up lighting, and render, all within the same interface. This workflow efficiency is something you don't fully appreciate until you experience it. When you needed to make quick adjustment to the base mesh or add some additional geometry, you didn't need to export and import between different applications. Blender sculpting brushes are surprisingly comprehensive. The clay strip brush became your go-to for building up forms, and the grab brush feels responsive and natural. The Remus feature works well for adding detail while maintaining clean topology. You can particularly impress with the multi-resolution modifier, which gives you non-destructive sculpting similar to ZBrush subdivision levels. The performance in Blender was better than you would expect. With a decent graphics card, you could work with meshes up to about 2 million polygons without major slowdowns. The viewport navigation felt smooth and the sculpting response was immediate enough for most work. The dynamic topology feature automatically adds geometry where you need it, which is incredibly convenient for organic sculpting. One feature that really stood out was the voxel remesher. This tool automatically creates clean, uniform topology as you sculpt, which is perfect for concept work and rough sculpting phases. It's not as sophisticated as ZBrush's Z Remesher, but it gets the job done and keeps your mesh workable. The grease pencil integration opened up interesting possibilities. You could sketch directly on your sculpture for planning details or even create 2D concept art that you could reference while sculpting. This hybrid approach between 2D and 3D felt natural and creative. However, Blender's limitations became apparent pretty quickly. The brush system, while functional, lacks the depth and variety of ZBrush. After a few days, you could find yourself wanting more specialized brushes for specific tasks. The alphas in texture system works, but it's not as robust or easy to use as ZBrush extensive library. Detail work is where Blender really struggles. Creating fine skin textures, intricate patterns, or complex surface details requires significantly more effort than in ZBrush. The brush engine simply isn't optimized for the kind of micro detail work that makes characters really come alive. The sculpting performance hits a wall around 5 to 6 million polygons. While this is sufficient for many projects, it's limiting when you want to push into really fine detail territory. The viewport becomes sluggish and brush strokes start to lag noticeably. Retopology tools exist in Blender, but they're not as intuitive or powerful as dedicated retopology software. If you're planning to animate your sculpted characters, you'll likely need to learn additional workflows or use external tools. Now, let's talk about ZBrush, the sculpting heavyweight that's been the industry standard for over 2 decades. Switching to ZBrush after 2 weeks in Blender was like stepping into a completely different world. And honestly, it felt like putting on a perfectly fitted glove. ZBrush's brush system is simply in a league of its own. The variety, responsiveness, and sophistication of the brushes is incredible. The standard brush alone has more customization options than most of Blender's entire brush collection. The way brushes interact with the surface, the alpha system, and the stroke dynamics create possibilities that are simply not available in Blender. The detail capability in ZBrush is mind blowing. You could be able to push models to 20 plus million polygons without significant performance issues. The skin texturing capabilities through brushes like Dam Standard and Skin Shade allowed you to create realistic skin surfaces that would take hours to achieve in Blender. The VDM or Vector Displacement Meshes system for adding complex surface details is revolutionary. ZBrush's subdivision system is flawless. The ability to work at different subdivision levels and maintain clean geometry throughout the process is exactly what professional sculptors need. You can rough off forms at low subdivision levels, then gradually add details as you move up, always maintaining the ability to go back and adjust the underlying structure. The polygroup system changed how you could approach sculpting. Being able to isolate different parts of a model instantly made complex sculptures much more manageable. Combined with the masking tools, you could have precise control over exactly where your sculpting affected the model. ZBrush specialized tools are incredible. ZRemeasure creates clean, quad-based topology automatically, which is essential for animation-ready models. The transpose tools for posing and manipulating parts of your sculpture are intuitive and powerful. The subtool system allow you to work with multiple objects in one scene seamlessly. The fiber mesh system for creating hair and fur is something Blender simply can't match. When creating realistic hair systems in minutes that would take hours in other applications, the ability to groom, style, and render hair directly in ZBrush is a massive workflow advantage. ZBrush material and rendering system, while not as advanced as dedicated renderers, is perfect for sculpture presentation. The matte cap materials provide excellent lighting for evaluating your work, and the BPR Best Preview Render system produces beautiful presentation images quickly. But ZBrush isn't without its challenges. The interface is notoriously unintuitive. Even after 2 weeks of daily use, I was still discovering basic functions and fighting with the UI. The learning curve is steep, and the way ZBrush approaches 3D modeling is fundamentally different from other software. The price point is significant, $895 for a perpetual license or $40 per month for a subscription. For hobbyists or students, this is a substantial investment. While ZBrush is regularly updated and the perpetual license includes updates, the initial cost barrier is real. ZBrush is one tricky pony, but it's the best trick in the business. If you need modeling, texturing, animation, or rendering, you'll need other software. The file formats it exports aren't always compatible with other applications without some workflow considerations. The gap between Blender and ZBrush is narrowing, but ZBrush's decades of specialized development still show. Both tools will continue evolving, and this comparison might look different in a year or two. That's my honest verdict after 30 days of intensive testing. Both tools have their place, and the right choice depends on your needs, budget, and career goals.